I want to talk to you about what a CVV really is on credit cards, but also on debit cards. Let's have a conversation about that, okay? So here are the facts I want you to really pay attention to. Let me first talk to you about the 411 on CVVs, so you have a clear idea what the whole conversation will revolve around. You've probably been prompted for a CVV number at some point and asked yourself, what is a CVV number for, right? So aside from being a three small and unremarkable numbers on the back of your credit card, it might be something that you have actually you need to give a lot of thought to, especially when it comes to the security protocol that really revolves around that three-digit CVV code. Okay. Now, good news is that we've actually taken out all the digging to give you the surprising scoop on CVVs and also the steering role that they play in ensuring secure online credit card processing. That's really important because you want to have a conduit through which you can really buttress the whole security that revolves around credit card processing. So in today's conversation, I'll explain to you the reason for a CVV, where to find a CVV on credit card but also debit cards, why merchants ask for it, and how the CVV actually protects you from fraudulent activity. So let me first talk to you about what a CVV code really is, okay, and how do you find it, by the way. So a CVV code is actually a unique three-digit number used to secure and verify that the cardholder has the card in their possession for card not present transactions. So during a purchase, this number, along with your card number, expiration date, and the transaction amount, is actually first sent for approval to a card payment processor, then to a card network, and finally to the customer's issuing bank. So you have actually a three parts of this transaction here. And so in mere seconds, the bank will receive this and return an approval or decline code to the payment processor and then back to the merchant to complete the purchase. So a merchant may also use this information to verify the validity of a card without charging it or pre-authorize a purchase, such as reserving a hotel with a deposit. Now, do you need a CVV when using American debit cards in Canada? Well, it depends. A CVV is required to complete any payments made online or over the telephone. In contrast, and this is the big one. In contrast, a PIN is used for making in-person transactions. American debit cards only need a CVV when completing transactions online or over the phone. And one thing you also need to understand here is that Visa actually is a major credit card that issues both Visa branded debit and credit cards. So, and the same thing for MasterCard. Well, same thing for MasterCard also. So when you think about having a CVV on your credit card or a debit card, it's really important to understand that customers can actually protect themselves during card not present transactions. Okay, and so let me give you a few guidelines, a few general guidelines customers can take as a precaution to securing their card and CVV to guard against prying eyes, such as don't give your CVV out to unverified websites via text or email, as these are not secure. I mean, if you have to really go through the whole PCI compliance sort of protocol, you never want to give your CVV out to a website that is not verified. And don't do this. And by the way, don't do this over email or via text. The second thing is freeze or cancel your card immediately if ever lost or stolen. It's all about actually making sure that you are actually protecting yourself. Okay, and so it's just better to freeze the card because then you can always unfreeze it later on. But if you were to cancel it, then you have to really go through the whole process again to re-register another card for things like automatic billing. So it's just better to freeze it. One thing you also want to do here is that you want to keep your card information private. Don't post any information on social media about your card, about the CVV, about anything. Okay, I mean, social media is actually the worst place to actually post private data anyway. And you want to memorize your CVV and possibly physically cover it on the card. Again, it's one of those things where any information that can actually go to a prying eye, you want to really sort of really cover that. You want to hide it. You want to hide it. And finally, you want to opt out or of autofill or remember me on websites to prevent your information from being stored in the first place. You do not want to have that. Let me give you some relevant info here. When you think about CVV on credit cards and debit cards, what does CVV really stand for? Let's have a clear idea. Let's go more granular so we have a clear idea about what those things stands for. What they stand for. So CVV stands for card verification value, and it has many different names. Okay, the issuer of the card determines the term. Let me give you some of the most common cards and their names. So basically, CVV numbers are also known as CSC numbers. So CSC stands for Card Security Code, as well as CVV2 numbers. They are the same as CVV numbers, except that they have been generated by a second generation process that makes them harder to guess. Okay, it's really the card provider is adding an extra layer of security here. Now, what is a CVV on a Visa? It's the card verification value, CVV. What is it called on an American Express card? It's called a CIC. So if you actually are dealing with Amex transactions, or you go to let's say a store that accepts Amex, and they are actually asking you about the CIC, they mean the CVV. It's the same thing, card identification code. So your card identification code on American Express, those are the 3 digits. What is a CVV code on a MasterCard? It's called a CVC. So CVC, MasterCard card verification code. So if you have a MasterCard and somebody's is not going to ask you about a CVV, that person will be asking you about CVC. And what is a CVV on a Discover credit card? Well, card verification data, CVD. So you have this sort of different names, but it means the same thing anywhere. Okay, CVD. So from CVV to a CIC to CVC to CVD, you are talking about the same thing anyway. Okay, and the bottom line is actually the CVV, the 3 digits number at the back of the card. Now let me talk to you about where is the CVV number on your card. Now the CVV is usually found on the back of your credit card, except for American Express cards, which are really on the top right above your 15-digit card number. Okay, so basically it's one of those things where you have to really look at your card. You look at your card and see like just see the back of the card. Okay, now sometimes you might actually I mean the 3 digits number can be hidden, but you have to really if you have any question, it's just better to contact your card provider to confirm the numbers with them. You will almost always need your physical card to find the CVV unless you have it memorized or stored in your banking app. It's just better to have it stored in your banking app. So if you are in an area where you do not want to carry a card for security reasons, it's just better to actually have it at the back of your head and just see it. Now, some debit cards do not have a CVV, which indicates online purchases are not approved for that card. So anytime you have a debit card or a prepaid card, for that matter, a prepaid card that has no CVV, it just means that you cannot use it online for any kind of transactions. Okay. However, if present, a debit card's CVV number is usually found on the back in the signature box following the last 4 digits or the total 16-digit card number. So again, it's one of those things where you have to really look at your card precisely and see what kind of configuration you have. Now, what I'm telling you here could be different. Everything I'm telling you actually is actually like it's applicable to the states. Maybe in Canada, maybe in Europe, maybe in other countries, the configuration is totally different. Okay, whether you have like for Visa cards, for American Express card, or even Mastercard cards. So please, when you actually listen to me, just understand that I'm talking to you about the American context. So CVV, CIC, CVC, CVD. We are speaking about the reality of those card payments, of those physical cards in the states. Let me talk to you quickly about use cases here. So first of all, what is the card verification code for? a CVC for. So a credit card CVV number is actually an authentication tool to protect your card from credit card fraud. So at the root of it, it's all about credit card fraud prevention. Okay, it's all about protecting the customer's data. So a CVV is actually used when a physical card is not present. For example, when making a purchase online to ensure that you are indeed the cardholder. And e-commerce sites will usually prompt you for CVV at checkout, or a merchant will ask you to punch in the CVV when the virtual terminal or card reader prompts them. So this is really great because it really adds a CVV adds an extra layer of security to the whole transaction. Now, transactions that commonly require a credit card CVV number, I'm going to put this on the screen so it's pretty clear to you and everybody else. So you have e-commerce transactions. Those will always have a need for a CVV number. You have electronic invoices. So if you are billed automatically, or you build, let's say, monthly, or you build periodically, you will need to have a CVV. Also, subscriptions. So subscriptions actually will also always need a CVV. Payments and orders over the phone. Those will also need a CVV. Approving recurrent payments. So if you want your customers to approve recurrent payments, they will need to input their CVV for them to validate the whole transaction. You also have checkout processes that store your credit card information. So this is also another area where you will need to actually input your CVV. Again, the whole thing here is that you are actually validating the transaction. You're authenticating the transaction. You're saying to the merchant processor that, hey, listen, I'm indeed the owner of this card, and I have no problem actually providing that data. In other words, I have the card in my hand. I can see the 3 digits, and that's really good. Again, it's just because you want to add an extra layer of authentication to the whole process. Let me talk to you quickly about CVV versus PIN. So when you think about PIN, I'm speaking here about personal identification number. See, the thing is that the CVV is kind of different from your PIN in the sense that when you think about your PIN, basically you are speaking about a different sort of payment process. Now, the CVV is a secret number that is not on the physical, the PIN rather. The PIN is a secret number that is not on the physical card like your CVV, right? So you'll never see your PIN code at the back of your card. It doesn't happen. However, like your PIN, it is essential to keep your CVV protected because it gives thieves the ability to make online or phone purchases if they had your card number and expiration date. The CVV is not part of the data stored on the magnetic strap or the EMV chip. So the payment card industry data security standards, here I'm speaking here about PCI DSS. The PCI DSS actually prohibits the storage of a CVV unless it is stored in a card vault, for example. So if a database is hacked and credit card numbers are stolen, ultimately your banking information will be safeguarded. Especially because if you want to do online purchases or even over the phone purchases, you're gonna need the CVV. And if you are a hacker doesn't have that data, they cannot actually proceed. Okay, so that's important. So when you think about CVV versus PIN code, remember that it's all about your security. It's all about data preservation, privacy preservation. But most importantly, the PIN code is even more secret in the sense that the PIN code is only in your head. The PIN code is not like public somewhere. No, it is in your head, and only you can actually find out. Unless you put it on a piece of paper because you're scared about forgetting it, then that's another issue here. But the bottom line here is that the CVV actually adds an extra layer of protection when it comes to data privacy, when it comes to personal information, and also when it comes to you authenticating a specific transaction. So this is important to really think about it, especially if you are going to if you use a credit card for multiple transactions. CVV is going to be part of your everyday routine. let me talk to you about how to protect your CVV number and card security. I mean, basically, you understand that the CVV number is really quite essential. And so the CVV number protects both consumers and merchants from fraudulent charges, chargeback or friendly fraud claims, and disputes. So nothing spoils your day like an expensive case of identity fraud. Merchants can actually protect their businesses by familiarizing themselves over cybersecurity, and also the best practices when taking card not present payments. So, as a merchant, let me give you a few best practice tips to protect your customer information and yourself. First, you want to always ask for a CVV. This is required for Visa and all e-commerce transactions. Collect all requisite customer and billing information. You want to check AVS or address verification service to verify card holders' addresses using their billing information. That's really important, especially when it comes to validating the whole information that the merchant has given you. You want to also follow PCI compliance requirements to handle cardholder information securely, prevent or safeguard against the security breaches, and protect your business against fines, right? I mean, bottom line is you want to really make sure that you are increasing your business's cash flow by not having any big fine. And card brands such as Visa and MasterCard suggest keeping organized customer records and files and notes of any potential or recurring issues. So that's really important. So, as final thoughts, you have to really understand that learning about CVV codes, although it may seem a bit dry, is incredibly valuable. So, whether you are new to credit card processing and learning the ropes on all the terms and processes, or looking to bolster your transaction security, you always have choices. You want to protect your customers and your business by following all the tips and tricks and hacks that I gave you, and knowing how and why to use CVV codes during card not present transactions. So that's an important element to think about.